That is India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri on your screens, who is viewers, that on your screens are the visuals. Now, Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is now signing a condolence message for Khamenei. Now, this comes after a long building pressure was being built up on India over its response on Khamenei's killing. In fact, joining me on the broadcast is our senior editor, Shravan Sen, to get us more details into what's happening as India now finally takes its stand and the Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri, stands there to sign the condolence message for Khamenei. He's meeting the Iranian envoy and he's sending India's condolence message. India's message now loud and clear that India does not stand for any sort of violence. In fact, joining me on the phone line is our editor, Shravan Sen, to get us more updates into the matter. Shravan.
Well, in fact, this comes after the Prime Minister's strong statement that came in this morning during the bilateral with the Finnish president. In fact, this is what the Prime Minister had to say, that there could be no resolution in a military conflict. Following which, you have Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri signing the condolence book at the Iranian Embassy. This after the Deputy Foreign Minister, we are given to understand, is currently in the national capital, with whom we spoke earlier today, where he's largely spoken about the fact that how despite the talks that were basically going on. As far as India's position is concerned, remember, we've walked the tightrope at this point in time, where we have largely spoken about the fact that it is time for de-escalation. That is the messaging that has been done by Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar when he spoke to his counterpart in Iran as well as in Israel. Now you have these images coming in of the Foreign Secretary who's arrived at the Iranian Embassy, where he's met the Iranian ambassador as well as the Deputy Foreign Minister, and he's sent across a message from India. So that's the positioning that has been done by India at this stage, where India has condoled the death of Ayatollah Khamenei. And in fact, this is the first strong statement that has come in from the Prime Minister with regards to the ongoing conflict, which is only widening. This comes just a day after, where we have seen almost the war reaching our doorsteps, with an Iranian ship being targeted by a U.S. submarine. In fact, questions were also being raised about India's position on this entire matter. Now you have this imagery that is coming up with the Foreign Secretary signing the condolence book in the Iranian Embassy in the national capital. So largely, if you see the messaging that has been done by India's, walking the tightrope, because we have strategic interests also currently in Iran. With the Strait of Hormuz being shut, remember, it is also going to have a direct impact as far as our oil supply is concerned. While government sources have been indicating that there is enough reserve to last, and the fact that there are alternatives that are basically available, but in the longer run, with the Strait of Hormuz being shut, remember, there is also going to be a direct ramification as far as our oil supplies are concerned. So for keeping that in mind, there are strategic interests that we have at this stage, while the Prime Minister, when he makes the statement about de-escalation and the fact that dialogue is the only way and no solution can be found through a military conflict, it is a clear indication of where we stand at this point in time.
Right, Shravan, thanks very much for getting that detail in for us. In fact, viewers, take a look at your screens. This is India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri signing a condolence document for the death and the killing of Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei. Now, this is also happening as he meets the Iranian envoy, and it's happening in New Delhi. This is India's first official condolence towards the death of Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei. Now, remember, viewers, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, in his first official statement, has signed the condolence document over the killing of Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei. In fact, Our senior editor, Shravan Sen, continues being with us on the matter. Shravan, also speak to us about the delay. We spoke about how India is, of course, looking after its national interest. India also believes in the policy of, solving things through dialogue and not war. But also speak to us about, why was India's response late? In fact, Republic exclusively also spoke to the Iranian ambassador. Shravan Sen will join me on the broadcast very soon. But let's take a look at what he had to say on the matter first.
So what do you want to say about the current situation which is unfolding in Iran?
The current situation, that all the institution, all the state institution and public services moving forward in normal and legal way. And that we are due to our constitutions. We believe that according to our constitution we can do well, and despite of now we are in condition, war condition, and we are facing with foreign pressure. You can see and you can observe in Iran the public service and institution continue their work very well.
So the vessel, Iranian vessel, was struck by the US submarine near the Sri Lanka. So what do you want to say about that?
This is very bad news and sad news. We are under process, and we want to follow this case, and our relevant institutions now are investigate what's to happen, what was the reason for this happened. But very bad news and very sad news. Yeah.
So Donald Trump claimed that the war will be end in 4 weeks. Now he's claiming that it will end in 2 weeks.
Donald Trump, I think that's changed every day and every hour his stance. This is very important for and unfortunately they disturb and destroyed all the international norms and all international law.
So what do you want to say that by what time can Iran sustain in this war?
For what?
How much time Iran will?
This is up to other side. But we announced several times, you can start, but the duration with Iran, the end of the war with Iran, they can, because before that we said that we are ready for peace and war, but absolutely we prefer the peace, and we re-entered the table negotiation. Yes, and in spite of that, we be fully aware about the intention, but for taking away any excuse from them, we demonstrate our sincerity, and unfortunately they showed open hostility. This is very important.